Okay, the first task is to think back to the poem To Autumn and using the three keywords of ripeness, furrow, and songs, try and recall the three key quotations you were taught in that PowerPoint. Afternoons is about how people change over time, but also how relationships change over time. So consider some of the questions on the screen and think to yourself, why might the writer be saying that relationships don't necessarily always go well and might not have that happy ending? Summer is fading, the leaves fall in ones and twos from trees bordering the new recreation ground. In the hollows of afternoons, young mothers assemble at swing and sandpit, setting free their children. Behind them, at intervals, stand husbands in skilled trades, an estate full of washing, and the albums lettered Our Wedding lying near the television. Before them, the wind is ruining their courting places. They're still courting places, but the lovers are all in school, and their children, so intent on finding more unripe acorns, expect to be taken home. Their beauty has thickened. Something is pushing them to the side of their own lives. Afternoons is about a wife, a husband, and sort of about their children as well, but it's not told from any of their perspectives. It's told from a random observer who we guess is the writer, and how he comments on their lives changing, how they lose their independence, their love, and how perhaps he's maybe suggesting this isn't the way that everyone ought to live their lives. It tracks the time that's taken place since they got married and how their relationship has changed, and perhaps how they are not as in love as they used to be, and how their own children are kind of driving them apart. The first quotation about summer is fading, the leaves fall in ones and twos is clearly about change. Summer is giving way to autumn, so it's a time of seasonal change, but also it's going to be a time of change in their relationships. And this idea of the fall could be, the descent of their relationship and how it's changing, and it's going bad, it's going negative. Sometimes people are going from twos into ones, and sometimes people are meant to be in ones rather than in twos. So it's a time of negative change. The estate full of washing is the burden that the wife, the mother of the children, feels in order to look after the family, as though it's never ending. It sounds pretty monotonous and mundane, and the fact that her life no longer has any sort of like sense of excitement or sparkle. By the end, they realise that the children are the ones that are driving their relationship apart. They're being pushed to the side of their own lives, so therefore they're losing their independence, their freedom, and almost any control over what their life is going to be like. A little tip for the why. You don't have to agree with what Larkin says about family life and people living individualistic lifestyles. You can think totally the opposite to him, but you do have to try and understand his perspective, even if you don't agree with it. So, whilst at this point at the end of the poem you can give your own personal opinion, you need to make sure that it's mainly focused on the writer and trying to appreciate what he's saying, even if you don't necessarily agree with it. Your last step in this PowerPoint is to try and recall the story of the poem, the who, what, when, where, and ideally the why, and try and tie it in with the three keywords that we've got here: fading, washing, and side. So see if you can write down what those quotations were, and then try and remember or to write down what the story of the poem is using those three quotations in order to structure your thoughts.